So I would say I haven't really been doing very much today. I was just around the chickens for like 15 minutes, but hanging out meaning that I'm just giving them little different things to eat and leaving some. They like fruit, and so the other birds like fruit too. The wild birds like fruit, and so I leave them for them. I leave some for the wild birds. I watch them eat their versions of the fruit. And by the time you do all that and walk around a little, it's been like 15 minutes. I'm just like totally alone, so I thought I'd come out for another walk. I should have actually put on sun cream because it's quite bright and sunny. I didn't, so if I get sunburnt face, which I shouldn't because I've got a big hat on, but if I ever do, I can teach myself a lesson somehow to always put on sun cream before you leave the house, even if it's just for 10 minutes because the sun's pretty hot. I was writing on this morning that I expect the summer to be very hot, and because I don't actually believe that we're going to have very much rain between now and December, so it's been like 3 months, maybe even 4 months since we've had a decent amount of rain, and so it's been a while, and I don't think that there's going to be anything more than a week's worth of rain in November, and maybe like a day or two in October where it might rain. So considering all the facts that it's going to be a pretty dry version to into the summer, and then not getting that much rain during summer too. I mean, we might get a few showers maybe during the summer, but like usually it's at least one maybe in December and one maybe in January to February or something, or maybe 0 in December and one in January and one in February. But you're waiting so long to get any like real rain, and I just think that's a little too long. And I was stating today that I can assume that there's going to be a huge bushfire outbreak during the summer. I mean, obviously just a streak of lightning has to hit the ground, and because it's kind of dry and brittle, I mean, that's all it needs to start a natural bushfire. And then you've got other bushfires that, people light or, just appear naturally, and and they're going to break out during the summer. And because it's been so dry, I mean, that's probably at least 6 months worth of dry, like hardly any rain. You can naturally assume that it's going to be a really, really, really hot summer, and that, the bushfires might be more extreme than usual. That's just an assumption, it's not a fact, but I would even like, being a supporter of bushfire initiatives, I would definitely like consider putting some money aside for bushfire relief funds, because I think this year in particular they're gonna need it. So I would even save like $200, and if everyone saved $200, I mean, for in preparation of extreme weather. I mean, if it doesn't happen, you don't have to give over $200, but because I'm assuming that it could be extreme, I would safely put aside at least like around $200, because I am thinking in my mind that, it could be worse than ever. And so it's like, usually I put like $10, if I support bushfire relief, but I think it might be extreme this year. I don't know that, but I am thinking that it might be. So I'll put, just being an average person, I'll put like $100 to $200 aside. And if everyone in the world, in the country did that, in preparation of an extreme season, I mean, obviously that could give much more relief than usual because usually everyone's like, oh, I'm just a $5 donor, I'm a $10 donor, and some people are gracious enough to be a $30 or $50 donor, and if they're, getting you to buy raffle tickets or something, maybe it's $100 or so, but maybe. But usually it's like 20 to 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, whatever is the more usual expectation. And I'm like, no, I think it's going to be like really extreme this year, so I think I might put aside a bit of money. And like I said, if it is extreme, like heaps of bushfires break out, then you can be like, yes, I'm going to support with a good amount of money this time. But if it doesn't, it's like, oh, I don't need to support with that much money. I mean, I'll just go back to my normal bids, But that's what I'm thinking. I'm kind of getting nervous because it is so dry, it's so hot, and there's going to be literally barely any rain to get to the summer. And then during the summer, the ground's already exhaustively hot and dry. And then during the summer, it's like, what is it going to be like? And you're like going, I bet it's going to be like a lick to the flame, the earth. You might have like, I don't know, 10 bushfires break out in 10 different regions or something, I don't know. Something extreme. I don't know what the worst case of bushfires is. I don't know, throughout the country, I think it can be 30 throughout the country easy, and obviously it's pretty extreme. It is really extreme. It's not very it's not very light. Even here could break out. I mean, if there's a bushfire, because all that is bush, and we literally don't have all that's a lot of trees and stuff. And if a bushfire started in the farmlands at the back behind the trees, and it swept over here, it'd be like so even here, like if there was a bushfire, I'd be thinking, all right, now it's time to quickly evacuate to the beach, and so you have to quickly pack up the dog and the chickens, and it's like the whole homestead's venturing off to the beach and leaving everything to flames. But it's never been an issue here. I mean, I've never seen a bushfire here. I've seen tornadoes. Tornadoes are the worst. I still want to move. I just started a job, and it's like, isn't it like me to get work from home, and then you're working from home, and it's like, oh, and I'm still in a tornado zone, But before I got this other job, I was considering options of getting hybrid work in the city or something, or work in the city, like a casual job in the city. I'm feeling like I'm pretty good health, but I have to move pretty close to the city because I get so lazy. I don't like to wake before 8 p.m. So I was considering applying for some jobs that are available. But I don't have to now that I got another job from home. But if the one that is from home doesn't work out at any stage, I can reconsider my options to get me a little settled somewhere else where I can get all my stuff out of storage and shove it in there, because at the moment the house is too small and the garage is too small. The garage can't fit anything more than what it has, and the house can't fit anything more than what it has. And it's like, I've got literally a whole room's worth of goods in storage. I would say a whole house worth, but it's something that can fit easily if you've got like a good size room with good cupboards, good cupboard space, and perhaps a portion of the shed. It's not a whole house worth, but it's a good amount that just can't fit anywhere. And I'm like so pissed off that I have to keep paying for storage when all I need is a real big cupboard, basically. So I was going to get it moved here, but the other person's so slack on wanting to have a cupboard in the shed. So unless I'm really determined and I just say, I'm gonna put a cupboard there anyways, and if you don't like it, too bad, you know. Unless I do something like that, I don't think I'm gonna get my stuff moved out here. And I'm like, geez, I really need my stuff out of storage. I pay over a year's worth of stuff in storage, and I'm like going, I should have just bought it out here when we moved in, because now that everything's like got, half the garage has a huge lawnmower and everything settled in there. Whereas when we moved in, the lawnmower wasn't there, so I would have half the garage to fill. But now it's like I should have moved it when I was moved in here, and I would have had another year's worth of sales, but I haven't. And it's like, it's just getting more and more difficult. And now I got issues with phone and internet, and the other person doesn't like to make inquiries, so it's a big ordeal over simple problems that usually just need some constant contact to get resolved. And I'm like, I don't have the password, I don't have the membership number, I don't have the answers to questions, I don't know what the date of birth is, I don't know what their parents' maiden names are and stuff. It's like, I'm not going to be able to make the inquiries. And, at the moment, the inquiries are sitting still. It's like I'm just using the internet in the lounge room instead. And it's like, it'd be nice if, it would be nice if we had these inquiries fulfilled so I can go back to my room and do everything in my room and not feel like I'm being gawked at when I'm working. And so far it's like a no-go. Anyway, so I could if they allow me to overtake, because if they can't sort out the issue themselves and allow me to overtake them, it's like I'll make them close their account and I'll put everything in my own name so that I have control of it, because it is tax deductible. Talking about tax, I had a weird message on the weekend, but it wasn't fulfilled with a online letter. And so I was like, I got a text to check out my account, and I can't find whatever's in the text in my account. And then I had this, usually they have a joining letter if you get a text. Like, no, I didn't get a text. I was like, okay. Well, I didn't know what it is they're requesting. I mean, apparently I have to pay some bill. I know what it probably is though. I know what I did during the tax season, and it's like, it's probably the way I filled out the tax form. It's probably totally incorrect. Because the text said you have to repay whatever they paid you during tax season. I'm like, why? And then I went to look for the letter to, see whatever mistake they may have had. And it's like, there's no letter. It's like, okay, well, I guess I don't need to pay back then. So I'm waiting for either a real letter or another notice. But I'm not just going to refund my tax and without a joining letter. I'm like, what is that? I just naturally assume it's a spam. And then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna give you the tax back yet. Not until I get a letter, right? I will get a letter if it's really important, otherwise it's spam. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna pay back tax anyway, should I? Explain. Oh, it's weird. Weird to have a weird text. So, I'm sure if it's important, they'll send me a letter. You got two ways. You got online letters and postal letters. There's got to be something in that. Why am I talking about these things? These are so personal. Yeah, I was working on my assignment today again. I always do it in small bouts, but it's actually almost done. I sort of I did over 350 words, and then I reread the outline, and it's like, it says a minimum of 350 words, not 350 words exactly. And so then I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've done 350 words. But the stage 2 of this assignment is 1,200 words. And I'm like, oh, but it should be a-okay. I don't know what else I'm going to put in there, though. I'm doing an essay, apparently, and I'm like clueless as to how to really write it, but I'm just going to guff my way. I've got like a little statement. Well, I've got a subject statement, but I put that as like in umlauts, in speech, commas, and I don't think it should be in speech commas. I think I should take them out of the comments and just make one sentence in front of the thesis statement. In my little first go at writing these essays, I put a subheading for the thesis statement, but this time I just put the statement and one or two spaces, and then the first body of the paragraph is next. So I don't know whether any of this is right or wrong, but I put the opening statement in umlauts and centered it, and I'm like, I don't think you should be putting the opening statement in umlauts. I mean, I don't know whether it's supposed to be subheading, but it looks silly to have one sentence and then you've got your thesis statement underneath, and so I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this opening sentence? It's like, it's called something specific, but I call it an opening sentence line, where you have one line to suggest what the hell the essay is about, and then you got thesis statement, and then you got the first of your paragraphs, and then you got conclusion at the end. And so I was like, so I was sort of fiddling around with that, but I also majorly upgraded the reference at the end. It's like all my references are there. And so I was checking and double checking how to write this, how to write that, how to do videos from YouTube, and this and that. So I think I got that down. One thing I didn't always know, though, was you put a full stop and a comma. I like it how the pigeons always hang around where the food is, so I literally put some pear down, and they just happened to be hanging around where I put it down on the ground. I have a 2-layer bird dish, and then I put it on the ground, so whatever isn't in the bird dish is for the bigger birds, which eat off the ground. So I put that in consideration, because only the smaller birds can dangle off a food dish, and it's the bigger birds that need more like the ground. Although some birds can dangle off a food dish and eat off the ground, so I think pigeons are those sorts of birds, but the big ones have trouble getting food from the food dish, and so I put one in the food dish and one in the ground. That seems to make everyone a little happy. But they run out of food very quickly, usually by 12. If you put it by 9, by 12 it's all gone. So literally, and you're like going, what happened to the food? And it's like, oh, they ate it all. Anyway, that was what I was doing today. I was just studying. I didn't have a lot to do. I didn't even have to start my new job yet. I didn't read through my new job information so I can digest it, because I don't really know a lot about livestock, and I don't know how to refer to poults and pullets and whatever variation of birds and gabbles. And then you got the cows. I didn't even hardly read anything about the cows. And I'm like going, I probably should. I'm supposed to be like starting my job this week. I don't know. And I was looking up stuff on the internet, and I was like, I almost feel like organizing a trip to interstate because I got some stuff going on in interstate, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. If I were there, I would totally do it. I would totally apply. It's like maybe I should apply and travel down there. It's like, takes a little organizing though. The thing smells like it's dead. It's got a decaying smell around here. Oh, it could be just the garbage. Could be anything. No, it doesn't smell strong enough to be a dead creature, but this is a little off the yeah, that's a little bit better. It was open instead of closed. But yeah, that's all I've been doing. I've just been studying. So no biggie. I didn't even write it in my story yet. I should. Because I'm slowly eking close. I might do that at 9 o'clock tonight. Because I'm slowly eking closer to the end. So if I keep to my guns and keep doing 10 pages a day, I should be done by the weekend, and then I can use the weekend to edit, and then I can go back to doing other stuff. So yeah, like write a new story or do this or do that, doesn't matter. So much to do in so little time. I actually have my layering music site now, so I can layer this draft music that I have. I did like a lot of banging on some cups and plates and things and record it, and I'm like, oh, and I can now do my little music of banging on things. That might be interesting. Just put it as a single and be like, there's my musical talent. I think I'll do something else now. That's a 20-minute walk. That's all I need just to get into a little bit of shape. I actually should try running. I should like run from one side of the paddock to the other like 5 times or something, but I'm not really that great a runner. I can't really run very well or very far. I just thought it might be an idea because I'm still having trouble with my kilojoules and my whatever we call it. My carbs and my weight versus my weight. Although I have lost weight, I feel a lot fitter in my legs, but my belly's still there. Because my legs are pretty, well, they're not great, but they're better than they were at the beginning of this year. And my stomach is getting better, but I can't really, it's still like way overweight. Like I've got like hanging belly instead of something sculpted and fit. And that's the way it used to be. I'm like, well, it's getting there. I mean, I can almost see like an outline now. And my skin's getting better, but it's still chaotic. Looks like that. That's me scratching it. I really shouldn't, because if I don't scratch it, it's almost healing. I've had skin problems for a while. I keep telling myself, put on my bracelet, even if it's just like for 10 minutes in a day, it might do something. But I don't really like putting on pulsive bracelets that make your blood turn backwards. I think that's the only thing that turns me off about it. Unless I'm doing something specific, I don't usually touch it. Because I do need it for my fingers, so my fingers aren't really very straight, so I need that. I don't know, is it magnetic bracelets? I need that magnetism to correct whatever is wrong with me energy-wise, and it strengthens your immunity, and gets rid of your issues, but by that time you've kind of screwed up the natural pulse of your physical rotation inside your body. And then you're like, and everyone thinks you're weird. You're like an alien to doctors, but it feels okay, but it's supposed to be kind of unhealthy. So then you're like, it cures, cures me of my problems. If I were living alone, it wouldn't be so much of an issue, but I'm trying to refrain until I'm living alone because people don't like me to see me too thin. So I'm just doing it kind of naturally, but I am kind of considering it because my skin's kind of chaotic, and I'm like, well, it's taking forever. I do think it's getting better because I'm using a different cream, and it seems to be doing wonders, but it's still like it's pretty spread out, and I'm like, oh, I really should just put that bracelet on and make it all go away. It takes a couple of days to 2 weeks, somewhere in between there, and it'll all be gone. But I haven't yet, so I know I should, but I haven't. If I were living by myself, I probably would have, because I can do whatever I like without speculation. Because I'm sharing house, it's like, I'd just be lazy for a little bit longer. I do hold myself back a little from getting myself together totally, because people naturally, when I'm living with other people, they don't like it, so, and they give me a headache if they don't like something that I'm doing, and I'm like, if I'm by myself though, it's like I can do whatever I like, and I don't have to have anyone but myself notice things, and then I can be like, yes, now I can do whatever, now I can be bad, I can be get in trouble for doing the evil things that I do, like wear magnetic jewelry until all my health issues go away. So it's like, yeah, that's terrible. It's like totally against the law. But technically, like when people get jealous of you or they just don't like you or whatever, it's like they just give you a hard time for no reason and get such a headache. And I don't feel like meeting that. And so I'm just like being lazy, pretending like, oh, I can't get myself together. Oh, actually, I can. Sorry, but I can. I know I didn't do it for so and so, but I'll do it later. Easy as pie.